Welcome to These Are Words. It's your weekly podcast out of Knoxville, Tennessee, where we're going to talk about some different stuff. So first, we'll have a very nostalgic question of the day. Nostalgia, one of my favorite things, also one of my worst enemies. Stop leering at me. Is that the right word?
That's leering? A great word.
Leering? It's also a Pokemon move.
After that, lowers your defense. I know. Then we're going to be talking about college basketball in the world of the sports sector.
Praise God.
Galaxy. Specifically,
I did get some feedback on that, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, as I often do.
I'm sure you're sorry.
Sports Zone is better than sports sector.
Said who? Because
Brandon Lay, longtime listener, last night told me to my face that he liked Sports Zone because sports sector reminded him of like if aliens played basketball.
I don't know, man. I don't care.
Like a sector, like outer space.
Yeah, Space Jam. That's all anybody wants to do is relive their childhood and watch Space Jam.
Anyways, carry on.
Thank you. And then we're going to be picking some picks for the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
Which is way far away, right?
Really far away.
Okay.
Like
April.
At least a few months.
And then we're going to be talking about the attractional model of churches and talking about some Knoxville music as well there in the middle. So let's get to it. How about this question of the day? Did I leave anything out?
That's it.
Awesome. So our super nostalgic question of the day. Did you play outside as a kid? That's something that kids currently don't even know about. I don't think any of them ever have.
We're like the last generation of kids that like didn't really have crazy technology.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. I think we talked about it. It was like one of the first episodes that we talked about that study.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I won't talk about it again because I thought we had talked about that.
I was actually just saying yeah as a courtesy.
Oh.
I didn't actually know what you were talking about.
It was the episode where we answered Josh's question about stuff happening in the world.
Yeah.
That's talked about it.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
the second half of the question is what did you do if you did play outside?
Okay, so did you play outside as a kid?
And if so,
what did you do?
What did you do? There weren't video games back then when we were kids.
Yes, sir.
I know.
Well, maybe when you were a kid, Asher.
Ouch.
We didn't all grow up in the 70s.
As a point of reference, I'm 6 years older than either of you. Not more mature.
Who needs that, though?
Okay, so I did play outside a lot.
Tennis?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, you played tennis indoors?
Yes.
That's called racquetball.
No. Very different sport.
Well, what did you actually do outside? Badminton?
Basketball?
Badsketball.
Basketball?
Logan had a basketball. Like, what do you call that? Like a dungeon at your house?
What? A dungeon?
You could play basketball at your house.
Yeah, but out of court. Like
It's not really a court, though.
So whenever
in the traditional sense.
Why are you calling it a dungeon? Was it not outside?
It was a giant fence.
Like just for feet?
Right?
It was a 2-scale, like high school sized half court. So the dimensions were right for half court.
Yes.
And then we
scale.
put a fence around that.
Right.
Because we lived in the woods and we had little raccoon babies that wanted to come and steal the basketball.
In my mental memory, the fence was very tall.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
like
why
12 feet.
Why are you acting like I'm an idiot for what I said?
Because dungeons are enclosed.
They're also like within a building underground.
Right.
To be fair, I said I don't know what to call it. Dungeon, and all you had to say was that's the wrong word.
I didn't know if you thought that I had a basketball court underground. Yeah, so whenever it was more my brothers, I didn't really have a say in this. Your air conditioning's not on yet, so I'm getting hot.
Great.
So I didn't really have a say in this, but my brothers were playing baseball and basketball. And
You mean you didn't have a say in whether or not they could play baseball or basketball?
just hang
That
on.
seems correct. Okay.
Hang on. So
Not
my
that weird.
dad told them, you guys need to choose a sport, and if you choose basketball, I'll build you a basketball court. If you choose baseball, I'm going to build you a pool.
I'm sorry.
A pool?
Why?
I don't know.
To play baseball in the pool?
A pool.
No, I just think we were going to put one of those two things in the backyard, and
You literally don't need anything to practice baseball. I'm pretty sure the people that
No.
play baseball don't even practice.
we had a batting cage.
Yeah, they just sit down and they chew gum until it's their turn.
we had a batting cage in the garage.
And chow.
Okay.
Chow.
The back
So we
end.
didn't like need anything else for baseball.
Right. Just a place to come and relax after you stand around timing for
terrible.
4 hours.
Okay, so
I got beef with baseball. Sorry.
So we had a basketball court. Did that a lot, but we also would just like kind of go around the neighborhood on our bikes, and do whatever. I remember one time it snowed, and we were with our friend Harrison. We lived at the end of the neighborhood, and in front of us was this like woods, and then beyond that was another person's house.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the back of their house because they were on another street down the ridge because we lived at the top of the ridge. So we're down there in their yard, and a salt truck was driving, salting the road because it just snowed like a ton. Harrison, my friend, took a snowball and threw it at the salt truck, and the guy's window was open maybe a foot. And I kid you not, it went through the window and hit the dude in the face.
Oh my gosh.
So he turned the truck around and sprayed salt all in the yard. Just like, I didn't know you could do that.
So
They
your
can
snow all
aim that.
melted?
Huh?
So your snow all melted?
No, their snow all melted.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
We were at their house. We were at the neighbor's house.
Right.
We still had it. So we just ran back to my house. But we just kind of did stuff like that. We got in a fair amount of trouble, but it was all because of Harrison. Yeah.
It always
Nice.
is. Everybody had that one kid named Harrison.
Always Harrison.
And then Michael, well, you guys both know Michael. Michael was his cousin when
Michael
he
who?
came, McCoy.
Oh, you're talking about Harrison.
Harrison
the Woods-
Collins.
Okay, I didn't know what
So-
Harrison you're talking about.
Yeah, so whenever Michael would come, it got really bad. But then the most I think this is like a very movie childhood thing to happen. Harrison had a dog named Minnie,
Good name.
Boxer.
like Mickey.
No, like Minnie. And so it was a boxer, and wherever we were in this neighborhood, they would just let Minnie out, and Minnie would run and find Harrison, and he would know that it was time to go home. That's how they knew, because we didn't have phones.
That's pretty crazy.
It's amazing.
What?
That dog would just run and find us wherever we were.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was
and,
before cell phones, right?
this
I mean,
was
they
like
might
the
have existed,
90s.
but-
yeah, we didn't have them for sure.
Right.
And so that was anytime that she showed up, he would just be like, okay, I got to go home. And then he and Minnie would walk back to his house.
It's like a way cooler version of a carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Messenger
And
dog.
so whenever Minnie died, at the time we were going to school at UT together, and we'd see each other a lot, and he was like, we had to put Minnie down. And I about cried. It was terrible.
You're like, how are you going to find your house?
I know. He doesn't even know how to go back home.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
What about you, Lance?
Rachel and I played outside a lot, and I can't remember exactly where this age range is. Maybe anywhere between third and sixth grade. Rachel and I would go outside, and we would. it was like we were making a superhero movie on the spot. So we were writing the story as it happened.
Right.
But we both it was the same story every time. Something happened. We both got superpowers, and then we had to go on some adventure to save the world or something.
Were you specific superheroes or
No. We
you made up your powers?
Yeah, we made up our
Yeah, okay.
powers. It, so that part was probably different every time. But
What would you lean towards? Do you remember?
oh gosh, I think I always flew. I was really into flying. I don't remember.
Well, it's just funny
Past
because
that, I don't
you.
remember.
I know you knew him then too.
Well,
but
not really,
Not really.
though. Like, I
I
feel
knew who
like
you were, sort of.
I feel like I knew who you were through your brothers
more than
than
that makes sense.
Lance until like my senior year of high school. You all were in like 6th grade, which sounds really weird because now I feel like
Oh my god.
we're all adults.
Is that true?
I'm
Would you
pretty sure.
graduate?
I graduated 06.
We were
Yeah.
in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's weird. Because now, like, we're all like
The same.
best friends, and it
Well-
doesn't feel like there's a huge age difference. Lance and I are best friends, and you're also here.
And yeah, we just used my house for the podcast.
And your equipment.
Yeah, thanks for.
Thanks for letting us host our podcast.
I think we'll have you rent by next week.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Not if people don't sponsor us. One of the funny things I remember.
Shameless.
One of the funny things I remember about these stories, though, is that the whatever would happen to give us superpowers always happened on the trampoline. That's where that happened, and then the story would move from the trampoline to wherever the wind would take us. And the times I remember doing this the most were at a house that we lived in that was really close to like some train tracks, and so I feel like we worked the train into the story sometimes. This was a pretty cool neighborhood.
And
I
you could
remember,
like go and walk around on the train tracks.
no, we didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
It was a little bit
was
too
it-
far away to like. We
Okay.
would have to leave the neighborhood to go.
Gotcha.
So we were a little bit afraid. I was afraid of the train tracks, to be honest. I don't.
Why?
don't
Because you
remember
thought
why.
you would just walk on them and magically your foot would be under the
Maybe.
wood and then
I don't
you'd be
know.
stuck. 'Cause
I've had some irrational
I
fears in my
definitely
day.
don't have that fear today.
Right.
I'll walk all over a train track. And
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do, but
I do not.
you're kind of like one of those people that could counsel them
Yeah.
about it because you definitely don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Never had to deal with it ever.
Yeah.
Those are some of my fondest memories. But I also played sports a lot too. Like we played football in the street, much just like kids do in movies.
I'm so happy that we're actually filming this one because I get to say played sports. And
Yeah,
people
with-
get to see it.
with
I
quotes.
played sports.
Yeah.
You know that. Like
No.
legitimately my whole life.
You were ranked as a. We don't need to go into it. Listen to some
Everybody knows.
backlog of
Tucker brought
episodes.
that up last night, and he said that he'd been telling people I was ranked 8th in the country.
This is growing. This is.
I was ranked like 82nd in the state.
We need to start a Wikipedia page about how you're a child prodigy.
I will
wasn't
make one
anything
for
close.
sure. That's
Nothing
amazing.
close.
He was telling people that you were 8th in the country. At how old?
8 years old. I don't think you can even do that.
I'm sure you can. If you were 82nd in the state, somebody
Some 8-year-old
At some
dweeb
point-
is number one.
number one in their state.
Moonballing everybody.
Yeah, moonballing.
Oh my gosh.
For those who don't know, moonballing is playing a lob
On
every
every
shot.
shot.
It's just if
Just
they
as-
hit it to you, you just
Yeah.
hit it up
As
and into
arched
the
as you
court.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's a like it's an
basically-
easy shot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You can just every time.
it is so annoying. I was actually never really good at it.
Lobbing.
No, lobbing
just-
is different for some reason to
Yeah.
me.
Well, because it's an actual shot.
But if they hit a ground
and
stroke to
strategy.
me, and I'm at if we're both at the baseline,
Oh,
I
see what you're
can't
saying.
like hit it up.
Yeah. I'm not sure how kids got good at it either. I didn't do it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't really want to talk politics yet. Like lobbying. No,
Lobbying.
that happens in the White House,
Labyrinth,
I think.
labyrinth.
What did you do outside?
David Bowie.
I know it. Just I had to say it correctly, just so everybody wasn't like that guy doesn't know how to say labyrinth.
It's a good word.
Yeah. So my sister and I growing up were really close with a couple cousins of ours that lived down in Florida. So we would go and visit them every year. And we had a few different make-believe games. And I don't know how weird or normal they're going to sound now. I think they're not going to be like inappropriate. But one of them was like we all loved Power Rangers. And it was like the original Power Rangers where they actually used the toys on the show. And you could see like the screws holding them together and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you know, super pro. So we would play a game called Power Ranger Nursery, and we were all like little kid Power Rangers. So I was the I was the Orange Ranger. I don't know.
Whoa. Nursery?
Yeah, Power Ranger nursery. We were like the Rugrats of Power Rangers, if you will. So I guess it is a little stranger than like in my head. This is just what I did. So sharing this with other people.
I thought you were going to be like the place that took care of Power Rangers after they got hurt.
That's what I thought he was going to say too.
And that makes perfect sense.
As soon as he said little kid Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we were the Power Rangers in training. And I was the Orange Ranger, and my name was Norman. I don't know where I got that name from. And we all had to pick like a different dinosaur type thing to be our Zord or whatever. Mine was I don't even know if I pronounced this right, but an Ankylosaurus, which was like all fours, spikes all over its back, and the tail that had like a club on the end of it. And I would also, the best part of
I'm going to look it up.
Power Ranger Nursery is the fact that I would rage quit every time we played it. And my sister always was kind of the one in charge. And then we would just like, we never fought in a big like knockdown drag out kind of way, but it was all just with words, and we'd go back and forth, and she'd want to be the leader, and I'd be like, I don't like this anymore. And she'd be like, well, you have to play. And I'd be like, no, I don't. And I'd just walk away.
I like that you would rage quit and not, it's like not a video game.
Yeah.
It's real life.
There were no video games. Remember, this was the 70s.
I looked up a picture of an Ankylosaurus. This is an oddly
How do you spell
specific
that?
dinosaur.
Right? Well, I loved dinosaurs too.
It's ANKYLO.
Saurus.
Found it.
Scary dinosaur.
Did you just guess on that?
I started giving it my best shot, and then it autocorrected for me.
These
So I was
look,
close enough to get it right.
These look like
Like they could take down a T-Rex because they're so low, and T-Rex can't like bite them or anything.
Sweep
You're just
the
gonna
legs.
you can sweep the
Yeah.
legs. They're basically like doing jujitsu of dinosaurs.
Sweep the leg.
it's just
So
impressive that
Did you guys see Jurassic World, by the way?
no.
with Chris Pratt,
Yeah. It was pretty freaking awful.
yeah, it was a very terrible movie.
I thought you were about to give it a great review because I've only heard bad things.
It was
He just looked
horrible.
like he was always about to laugh the whole time. Like, this is such a dumb movie for me to be doing.
But he made lots of money.
That's true.
Yeah.
I also rode bikes a whole lot with with people near our house. We looking at Jurassic World?
I'm
I
looking
was saying,
at,
oh yeah, to you.
I'm looking
I
at
rode
the
bikes a lot.
ancestor of the Ankylosaurus,
Is what?
the yellow spotted lizard from the movie Holes.
Right. Shia LaBeouf.
Oh.
What else we do?
I used to love that song.
I skated with a couple people, but we were all really, really bad at skating. So, you know, in the Olympics, they do the luge where you're kind of like
Yeah.
laying down or laying on your stomach. We would do that down the hill near my house,
Yep.
which is like, we didn't live in a neighborhood or anything. So the houses are kind of spread out. The hill was like really steep. So this was some dangerous stuff that we probably shouldn't have been doing. Just like face first, going down a 1-lane road.
Face
so
first?
face first,
Oh, gosh.
luge, sometimes on our back.
Yeah.
And if it's a 1-lane road, so if any cars were coming up the road, we would literally have to like there's no slowing down.
Just
So we would
barrel
just
off.
go into the ditch and just like
Eat
get
it.
bruised and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I was really into skateboarding for a while, and I never got great at it.
No, terrible.
Again, very happy we're filming this because very good at or into skateboarding. It means he wore etnies and globes. Yeah.
Globe is still cool. I think they went out of business, but I don't think I ever had a pair of etnies. Did I?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I
Every
may
middle
have.
schooler, at least whenever we were growing up, every middle schooler,
I think I did have a
went
pair
through
of
like a
etnies.
skateboard stage.
But
even though,
then etnies became the poser shoe.
yeah,
Like immediately afterwards, so I couldn't wear them anymore. That's when I got globes, I think.
How old were
Yeah,
you
I bought
guys when
gloves, too.
Jinkos were like the thing to wear?
I don't know what
We were too
Jinkos
young.
are.
Didn't happen for us,
I was in 4th grade and Jinkos were like huge. So you all were like not even born yet, right?
basically.
So I was
three.
at 25 years old, Super Nintendo came out. So I'm just kidding. Okay, last one, and then we'll move on. My sister and I, just the two of us, would play this game that she made up, and it was called Let's Play. So she.
That's a YouTube thing now.
Is it really?
Well, it's like
Video games?
Yeah, it's like it's just like a play on words. Like let's play,
blah blah blah.
Yeah, whatever.
Or
It'll say like let's play : and then have the game.
Settlers
and then
of Catan.
And
they would just
and then it has like the video of them playing it as well as
yeah.
Pandemic, and then it's those
Monopoly,
people, as I understand it,
Checkers.
are called Let's Players.
Let's Players. Yeah. So we would say let's play. And I was just one character in make-believe story that we would make up on the spot.
Right.
Like you all did. And I was Andy. I wasn't Asher. I was Andy. I was always like somebody else. I don't know. It's probably some psychological thing wrong with me. And Annika is my sister, and she would play like...
Wait, your sister's name is Annika, actually?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Did you really not?
No, I don't think I've ever met her.
I call her Anakin sometimes, and I say she brings balance to our family.
No, she's supposed to.
She was supposed to.
But
didn't
6
work.
movies
She's
later,
still nice,
she
though.
does. I guess 3 movies later.
We're
named the
It's
six.
also confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I just want more Jar Jar Binks.
Oh man, so like 13 different characters she would become. They're all like different personalities.
does she have a son named Jake?
And then
Also named
just the one my favorite part was that she would become a cereal box. I can't remember the name of it, and it would just make noise.
Please describe that again.
So
She would
I would say
Become a
like
cereal box.
I would be like, hey, I want you to be this person or that person, like as a part of this game that we made up, mostly she made up. And one of the characters that she would become was a box of cereal.
Why?
And it wouldn't like
wild.
talk or anything. It was just
Why?
because there were no video games. We were making it up.
Yeah, but the cereal box is very boring.
It wasn't. It was the 70s. Remember?
It's a simpler time there.
Hey, can I get
It
some more
was
coffee?
simpler times
Simpler time.
back then.
Simpler times.
Simpler times for simpler children.
For simpler times.
have more coffee?
Make it
Would you mind?
simpler time.
All right. Are we picking our NCAA teams or what?
Well, let's slow your roll there. Let's just kind of talk about it real quick.
No, I want to pick.
Do you want the rest
go
of
ahead
mine?
and pick. Huh?
You should have the rest of mine too.
Why do you never
No,
drink your
I mean,
coffee? We're
the
going to
thing
talk
is,
about this
I
on
can't
air.
finish it because it gets too cold.
Listen, the thing is,
Just drink it faster.
It's
I
too
know
hot.
who my NCAA picks are, but I would rather you all kind of talk about yours first, and
And
then
then
I'll
yeah.
interject
Why don't you just
later.
go ahead and pick your final four, and
No,
then
I
we'll
mean,
talk about it.
That's just really
Actually, I agree. Let's make them do it. Pick your final four right
that's
now.
just really not my place in this world.
4
My
teams.
place in this world.
4 teams.
Okay, 4 teams in NCAA basketball
Yeah.
for our listeners and viewers.
Oh, we
The
can say
final
viewers
4.
now.
Yeah,
Not yet.
Why
Nobody's seen it yet.
You
I
have to
can
talk.
still address them. Hey, before we move on though, if you are listening or watching, we want to know what you did as a child, and I especially want to know if it was any weirder than anything I just described.
Yeah. If you can top the cereal box incident, let us know.
That may be one of the weirdest childhood stories I've ever heard.
You think so?
Like, as far as like this was a
The game is fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
just the cereal box is what I'm stuck on.
That's what I'm
Guys,
talking
yeah,
about.
because what I was looking for was like what kind of moral compass surrounds it, you know? Thank you for saying it's okay. Anyway,
Oh my
we want to know we want to know what you did as a child. So,
Let us know.
yep,
College
I've already
basketball.
answered. Why are you asking?
college basketball.
All right.
I
Final
actually
4.
watched a ton of basketball when I was a child, just all the time. When's basketball going to be on? When
Like-
can I watch it again?
But only when Vlade Divac was on.
No, you remember I grew up in the 70s, so back then
I
it was
really-
Larry.
Clyde Drexler and the Warriors.
I really wish
Yes.
that we would start our second podcast about finding
Clyde
Vlade
Drexler
Divac.
did not play for the Warriors.
No, I don't.
I said it confidently, but now I realize I was wrong.
We're actually going to
was,
start like 3 more podcasts, and one's going to be you two talking about me, and one's me and Lance just like gossiping about Logan and spreading rumors and stuff. So
Who was on the? Who
stay
was on
tuned.
that?
It's going to be on MaximumFun.org.
Who was on that Warriors team in the 70s? That,
Guys, this is time for NCAA.
I know. I'm sorry, but
Like,
now I have
the
to.
Pro Ball's over, I'm pretty sure. Right? They already do their playoffs.
And it starts on Tuesday.
Kind of offset throughout
already
the year.
back. Okay, that's a conversation for later. But we do have some breaking sports news here.
Okay.
While we've been sitting here, 2 things have happened.
No
One,
way.
North Carolina avoids all sanctions from the NCAA.
Yeah.
They made fake classes for their athletes to take to get A's. And how they didn't get in trouble for that, I don't know.
How long have they been doing that?
It's ridiculous.
Like years.
I'm glad you're describing this because, like, personally, of course, I know what sanctions are, but a lot of our listeners, like, probably don't know. So
Well,
it's
they
just
could've-
good to.
I mean, they would have had to vacate wins. They would have had to vacate some national championships if they could prove that people, if it had happened then. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So, quick question. If they had to vacate wins, did they also have to vacate earth, water, fire, and heart?
no.
No? Okay.
Were you talking about? Evidently, Wilt Chamberlain played for the Warriors at some point. Rick Barry or
Rick Barry was on the team.
Tim Hardaway was on the team at
Yeah.
some point. Chris Mullen.
Amp
Chris
Hardaway.
Mullins. That's who I was thinking of. I don't know why I said Clyde Drexler. He played for
Trailblazers.
Portland. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Also, since we've been sitting here, the U.S. men's national soccer coach resigned.
Yep.
So-
So
Because he kept losing.
that's actually the other thing that I'd put on the Evernote that got deleted. Was I wanted to talk about U.S. soccer.
Not making the World Cup.
Yeah. So I'm going to add that now, and we'll talk about it here.
Okay.
In a minute.
So college basketball is probably my favorite sport. It's close with tennis, but like they're different, and so it's pretty easy to keep up with both for me.
And you love Duke?
No,
Yes,
Logan
he
loves-
does. We both love.
Yeah,
Duke.
yeah, yeah.
absolutely
both love Duke.
despise Duke. My least favorite team. Tonight is Big Blue Madness.
That's where Duke.
Plays Kentucky?
No,
No.
Duke just plays Duke, and Lance can't wait
What?
for it. Like it's like inter
It's
squad
a scrimmage? Scrimmage?
scrimmage.
Scrum. Is that where they do the scrum? Where they try and get the fatter looking pigskin and then
Right.
they huddle? But there aren't really plays and they
Yeah.
all just kind of run and they're in a line and it's all lateral passes.
Yeah, you're thinking
Yeah.
of rugby.
Nope.
So Big Blue Madness is happening tonight. This is Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? So all this is just like it's just an event to get people excited about the season. That's all it is. But it is quite the spectacle. I'd imagine Duke's is the same way. I've never seen it, but like so Kentucky's basketball stadium, Rupp Arena, like looks unreal for Big Blue Madness. Like
Sounds bougie.
I don't know what that means, but sure. Just like the lights and everything, and they introduce like all the teams one by one, and it's for men's and women's basketball. So it's like a big long thing. Drake is going to be there tonight, making his reappearance. Drake, rapper.
Nice.
He was at Big Blue Madness, John Calipari's first year with John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins and those guys, and he famously airballed a 3 because he was in warm up lines.
Who? Drake did?
Yeah. Drake, he was suited up like a player, and he took a 3 and just tanked right in front of the basket, man.
So is he going to be there because in Hotline Bling he was dribbling that basketball and they're like,
I think so.
he's the rapper we want.
He's walking on the team.
Nice.
He is a bandwagon Kentucky fan.
Really?
Yeah,
Admittedly, like he just jumped on the bandwagon.
like
Good.
they were good,
Hey.
and he was like, "They're my team now." And
He's from Toronto, so I mean, I guess he can just choose whatever team.
I mean, as
Yeah,
long as
that's
long
fine.
as he's admitting he's a bandwagon fan, that's fine
Yeah.
with me. Like,
yeah.
He's like,
No, that's fine because
I
like
got no beef.
my favorite team is my favorite soccer team is Barcelona, which I've said before, and I have no tie to them.
No.
So I don't it doesn't bother me as much as like it
You're
bothers
just
some people.
mad at it that it's Kentucky.
No, I don't care if he's a
Oh.
Kentucky fan. You're
Okay.
my best friend. You're a Kentucky fan.
You do
People
hate me
make
sometimes.
bad
though.
choices.
Yeah, 8
You have to
national
love.
championships.
You have to love them through it.
Those are half of them are fake.
Good grief. John Calipari is like one of Drake's mentors, though. Like for real, in the
What
real
a
life.
great mentor, man.
Kind of cool relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
Drake
Probably-
was on John Calipari's podcast a couple months ago, and it was pretty interesting to listen to because
For those who just saw that,
I forgot we're doing video. I do this throughout the podcast.
he's just waving at Prissy.
oh man,
Prissy's sitting in the other room,
Come here, puppy.
just looking at him. And he was just waving at her. It was the most innocent thing I've ever seen.
She's mad.
She just doesn't care. Yeah, she is mad. We're not playing with her. Let's stop the podcast so that we can just go play with her.
anyways,
We better not.
college basketball is back. Exhibition games start this week, and so I think that one of the reasons that I like college basketball so much, aside from that Kentucky's like my favorite team, is that like there's so many different players every year. Like it's always different. So it's a lot harder to establish like a dynasty, so to speak, like in the NBA where the
Wow.
Warriors are probably going to win like 7 of the next 10 titles or something.
Do they
like that.
use that word for
Dynasty?
sports?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Like when the Lakers won a bunch of stuff in a row.
Yeah, and
they said that's a dynasty.
I feel like it's more of called an era now.
Yeah.
Like, did you see where Michael Jordan was asked about like the
Super team era. Yeah, he said it's going to ruin basketball.
Which, sure, I
Are
agree. I mean, NBA basketball is like, if you're not on like one of those two teams,
Yeah.
you're nearly irrelevant.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before. Whenever we chose last week, like it's
It's not
undisputed.
even fun to choose.
Yeah, it's undisputed. Okay, it's going to be Cavs and Warriors, but then behind that, it's like, okay, well, who's going to come in third? Like that's the first spot that you're like, it could be anybody.
Yeah.
And it's because it's so uneven.
Yeah.
It's even for 28 teams, but not for the other two.
So like
Right.
they're making him. Do you feel like the dynasty thing is a mistake? Because you
No,
said it's
no,
an
no.
era. Like, are they?
Wait, what?
Are they? They're making an era.
Oh gosh, did you?
They're making
Like
an
it's
era.
not supposed to.
You've made an error.
It's not supposed to happen. Talk
This
about
makes
rage
me-
quitting, folks.
Oh,
This
gosh.
makes me-
Yeah.
How many Jim Halpert faces do you think I've made at the camera so far?
I didn't know you've done it.
I haven't caught any of them, but
Okay, good. Well, that'll be a fun game for our listeners. You get to count and get back to us. And if you guess correctly, then you get a prize.
They can
Right?
see you, so you can't.
No,
like,
they can't. It's a podcast.
You can't confirm with us after you say it.
anyways, you
Or
want
our
to talk about
viewers.
for you want to talk about Duke and how they're shaping up this year?
Yeah.
No matter how you sniff it, Duke still stinks. That's what I've always heard growing up.
That is
Watching
something
basketball.
that's something my mom would say.
Really?
Like today.
I'm going to call her and be like, hey, would you say this? She'd be
Yeah,
like,
she-
yep.
like,
She
yeah.
always says
You know, it's in the middle of Duke, right?
UK.
And I'm like, yeah, because that's how you spell Duke.
She also likes to say that Duke rhymes with puke.
And I'm
Nice.
Like, you're
Ooh.
right. That
I
is
like that one.
the English
True.
language.
Yeah. Anyways, how's Duke looking?
I love your mom.
I know the answer,
She's
but I
so
want you to say
sweet,
it.
but that is infuriating.
That's what she wants.
Stay
I
sweet,
don't- but do you
Jackie.
think I let her win? No. Most of the time, I'm just like, no way. UK's not in the middle.
Can we have
Pretty sure
Jackie
it's-
on the show?
I'd love to. That'd be awesome.
We just talk about the Left Behind series for like an hour.
I would love to talk about the Left Behind scene.
Leave my mom alone. What if I got really mad? Talk about Duke.
Okay, we got to make our picks, people. Come
Yeah,
on.
I'm trying to get us there.
Do you know where we ended up in the rank, like the recruiting class?
When you say
Were we at one?
for our listeners, you mean Duke. You're alienating everyone in Knoxville.
What?
Are you? Do you mean Duke?
Yeah, as in Duke.
I'm pretty sure it's number 2
I still
and you
disagree with
guys
this whole
behind North
we
Carolina,
situation.
unfortunately for all of us. And ours is number 3.
Ugh.
Last time I checked.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Either way, we had a phenomenal recruiting class. We lost. Okay, so we lost Harry Giles, Jason Tatum, Luke Kennard, Emil Jefferson,
Frank Jackson. I had it in front of me. Otherwise, I
okay.
wouldn't have known.
I just forgot about him. I really liked him, but he would. I don't know. It was weird.
I really liked What is that Julian Smith video? That's Billy's dad. I really liked him. Son, you're adopted. Roger. Anyways, sorry.
So, with all that being said, which like those 5 guys played a ton.
Yeah.
But Grayson Allen decided to stay. Somebody that most people hate. I do not mind him. It's whatever.
He's on your team. You have to like him.
Not
If he
true.
played for
I did
another
not
school, you
like-
wouldn't like him.
Yes, but I did not like Josh McRoberts. I think it was like 2006, 2007.
Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I just like that you just glowed up. You like turned your computer screen back on. You're like, nice Snapchat filter right there.
So, with all that being said, I think we've got a good group coming in, but we still have somebody who is there, and we have some other people that have been there. But Grayson Allen, who was like the captain last year, can be that leader if he would. Hopefully, he's matured, and so
He tripped people
once,
on more than one occasion.
Once it was once. The other times were completely unintentional. It was like the devil had like stepped in. Blue Devils, Duke Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not as
The
good of a
mascot.
joke then.
So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see because, and that's how college basketball is now because you can't hardly even look at last year ever and think we're going to be good because we were last year, or I think we can build on last year without keeping players. And whenever you lose like 5 players that played a substantial amount of time, it's a new team.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Tell me about it.
yeah, Kentucky's the worst about it. So, I mean, I think we have good players, but I have no idea if we're going to actually be worth anything or not.
Amen. Yeah, well, just keep hoping, okay? I mean, keep your head up, buddy.
Okay, so let's go on to the next part.
I think you'll be good. Honestly.
Thanks.
And y'all are rivals. That's so kind.
I want Duke to do well until we play. Because I would rather beat a good Duke team than a bad Duke team. That's how I think about it.
Most years we don't play, which we've talked about.
Yeah,
this, but
because we don't play in the same conference or anything. I
This
kind
was
of wish
like-
we would play every year, but
Do Duke
Yeah.
and UK generally have winning seasons?
yes.
yeah,
Both?
generally,
Yeah.
generally, Duke and Kentucky like are both in the top 10 like
Nice.
most of the year. Like it's
Nice.
abnormal. Like it's a bad year if we're ranked and we're not in the top 10.
For the past 10 years, I don't know if either one of us have had a losing season.
Even your
Either maybe the past 15
I know
years.
we haven't, but even you guys, whenever you lost
dark
in the first
year.
round, lost
We
in
don't
the first
talk
round
about
of the
that year.
NIT, you guys still had a winning
We
season.
still had a winning season, yeah.
Which
Barely.
a lot of programs would love to have, but that's just the standard of excellence that, like, that year is so far below the standard for you guys. It was unbelievable.
The year after we won the national championship, which is like the best thing you can do,
What year was it?
that was 2012.
Yes.
And then in 2013, we lost in the first round of the NIT, which is the tournament you go to if you don't make the good tournament. And
Nice.
We lost to Oral Roberts University.
It was
In the first round.
unbelievable.
And losing Nerlens Noel that year is not even an excuse. I mean, we had enough players on that team to be good, but couldn't figure it out. This year is going to be
So-
weird for
so-
Kentucky
Why?
because the average height of our team is 6'8".
Whoa.
Yeah,
So
everybody's just real tall.
What's the height of your guards? Are they just
So
tall?
our point guard, who's probably going to start, Quade Green, is 6 foot. He's the shortest guy on the team. We have two shooting guards that are like one of them 6'1", one of them 6'4". And then our other point guard that we recruited is 6'6", which is kind of unusual. Point guards aren't usually that tall. The last time we had a 6'6" point guard was Andrew Harrison was 6'6". And then we have like a whole bunch of forwards. It's like a bunch of them. They all float between like 6'8", 6'11", and then we have two like true centers. Nick Richards is 7 foot, and what's that kid's name?
I don't know.
I don't remember his name. Ty Wynyard, also 7 foot. So
Weird.
this is going to be the most like positionless college team we've ever had.
Because 2 years
ever.
ago, whenever you guys were running the like platoon, where it's 5 in, 5 out, everybody was so specific to. There wasn't much variation.
Not really. It was all like traditional 5 players and traditional 5 players.
Yeah.
This year's a lot different.
Well, you can't have any more or less than that, right? I mean, I'm not the basketball expert here, clearly, but like, what's the alternative?
5 untraditional players, which is what we have this year. So, you normally have a point guard, a shooting guard, and then it kind of mixes up from there.
Well, I know
there's
now.
like centers and small forwards, power forwards, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have some forwards on our team who could legitimately play point guard.
So
Are they names like Bear or Gary? Like, no, that's 4 letters. Sorry.
let's talk about our picks.
Yeah.
I want
picks.
Asher to go first.
Yeah. Well, just to explain for our listeners and viewers, a pick is when you kind of like shield someone else who's dribbling down the court, but you're not allowed to move. Like, you can't do a moving pick is technically like that's a penalty, right?
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that.
Can't do that.
Violation. They call it a moving violation in basketball.
Just
you
moving
get
pick.
fined like a certain amount of money depending on how fast you are moving as a pick. So
That's funny.
yeah, I mean, you all go ahead.
No,
I think I
pick 4 teams.
pick 4 teams in the NCAA. Okay, so one of my favorites lately, Iowa State.
Okay.
Way up there.
Yeah. Okay. Second.
Um,
So they're going.
Oregon's. I don't think they're Oregon State. I think they're Oregon Saint Oregon.
Saint Oregon?
Are they the?
Community college?
Yeah, they're the Beavers, just like Carnes.
No, that's Oregon State.
That's what I said.
Okay. Oregon State.
Oregon
That's who
State.
else is going?
Iowa State. They're both going, and they're
Are
both.
they going to play each other?
I mean, they have to. They're both West.
Well, it's one from the south, one from the east, one from the
No,
north,
they're-
one from the west.
They're both very much Western. You know how
Right.
you split the United States into hemispheres? They're in the Western hemisphere of the United States.
I see.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so those 2. You got 2 more.
Yeah, kind of a wild card. I get this, but UT basketball. And they're from the East. Well, let me do it backwards. Eastern hemisphere for viewers' sake.
Okay, and you got your 1 more.
Yeah, this last pick has been very difficult for me. It's a very emotional time for me in basketball right now. I've got to say North Carolina.
Okay.
That's your first
So-
good pick.
Now, North Carolina and Tennessee play each other.
Yeah, I don't think North Carolina's going to like take it. They're not
Okay,
going to
who's
run with
going
it.
to win between North Carolina and Tennessee?
Tennessee,
Okay. And now Oregon
Easy.
State and Iowa State.
Chris Lofton.
Who's gonna win between those 2?
Oh, Iowa State.
Okay. So
Probably a
Iowa State
blowout.
and Tennessee in the championship. Who
Like-
wins?
Oregon State's going to be everybody else in the West. Guns a-blazing out there in the West. But Iowa State's like so much better than they are.
Yeah. So Iowa State and Tennessee play each other. Who
Mhm.
wins?
Iowa State.
Okay. So
I
they're-
don't like saying that. That's
But-
why it's been an emotional time.
But they're taking.
It's
home
not
the
easy. Like
championship.
the truth is not easy.
right.
Okay.
So they're.
It's
gonna win
simple.
it. They're going to win it all this year. Iowa State.
Yes.
Okay. That's amazing.
Chrissy,
She's looks dead.
we got money on it.
She owes me $1.
Sorry about that. As soon as she
Your dog
downloads
owes me $1.
the Cash app, she'll get it to you.
So,
All right. Well,
Lance, you want to go?
Sure. There's a caveat. This is provided that Arizona doesn't lose any of their commitments because of the FBI scandal stuff. But Arizona, Kentucky, obviously. I think we're going to play UNC in the Final Four this year. That's my dream, is to rematch from last year and win.
You'll beat them.
And I'm torn. My fourth pick, I want to say Michigan State. They're looking really good this year, but I kind of want to just throw a dark horse in there. So I'm going to go with Seton Hall.
Okay. Seton Hall plays. Who's your first team?
Arizona.
Arizona. Who wins?
Arizona.
Okay. You guys versus Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or you guys versus UNC.
So Wildcats versus Wildcats for the national championship.
And you think it'll be you guys?
We win 82-71.
Okay. So
Mark my words, folks. 82-71, Kentucky over Arizona, championship number 9.
I'm going to go with Duke.
Shocker.
Okay, you chose your team.
It was a joke, man.
No. I am going to pick Michigan State, and we're going to play them. We're going to be number 1 overall, so that'll be the left side of the bracket. I picked this no matter what. This is the type of fan I am. On the right side, I think that it'll be... How's Kansas looking?
Wouldn't know.
Right, as always.
Only
But
follow a couple Western teams.
They're an Adidas school, and they're being investigated. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Their recruiting class is great, like always.
Yeah. Let's go.
And they've got some kids coming back. The kid whose name I can't pronounce, that guy. That guy.
Go with Kansas.
They got Devontae Graham, I think, is coming back. Frank
Are you
Mason
going
was
to
a
pick
senior.
some more teams or just
Kansas is the third one.
Okay.
And then Florida.
Not a bad pick.
Um,
The SEC in general this year is a lot better in
Yeah.
basketball.
so then it's going to be Kansas and Duke's going to win.
right? So, do you actually
And Duke's
believe
gonna-
that?
Duke's going to win 79-70. Do I actually believe it? Well, I'm
Like-
kind of forced to now, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Same way
that's what I
became a
mean,
Christian,
though.
what?
That's what I mean. You're forced to because it's your team and you say we, which is ridiculous.
No, I actually believe that Kentucky's going to win every year.
You actually
yes.
believe. It's not I really, really want it to happen.
No, I
but it
legitimately believe
probably
we
won't.
have a fighting chance at winning every year.
And same with Duke.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
believe
usually
that
true.
We have decent odds at winning. Betting on Duke to win, even right now, is not
That's a better
outlandish.
honestly, that's a better bet than Kentucky, just based on history.
Yeah.
So-
So other teams out there, what's a really terrible team that always has a losing season?
Tennessee.
Okay. No.
Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern. Do fans of Northwestern actually think we're gonna win it this year?
No,
I hope
they just
not.
had their first winning season in 25 years or something like that
Yeah.
last year.
And no, those fans are.
No, they know they're not going to win.
So they're just
hopefully-
really hoping. They're not yeah, we're gonna we believe every year we're gonna win.
No, they
Okay.
don't believe that.
Great. And they say we.
Yeah.
Good on them. All right.
Well, that was
what else in
Sports
sports?
Zone.
No soccer.
We're still voting, by the way. So if you like sports sector better, obviously it's better.
So it literally just happened, but I wanted to talk about it anyways.
What time do we need to wrap up? Just
We have about 20 minutes.
ooh.
U.S. soccer.
We've been going a long time.
They had a 3% chance of not making the World Cup, and
They nailed it.
and we nailed it. It was infuriating. I was very sad. We'll just need to talk about it next week because I actually do want to talk about this.
Yeah, let's do that.
And with the manager just resigning, that is a huge deal that I was going to actually ask you about anyways. So we'll just get to that next week. So please come back because that is going to be a very interesting topic. But yeah, let's just
So-
go on to the next part.
So we're going to take a short break here and give a little plug for some Knoxville music. And stay tuned because we'll come back with spirituality. No. After that.
Okay.
All right. So next, I wanted to give a quick shout out, as we did last week, to my friend Adam Whipple. He has a folk rock adventure in the works. It's a 13 or 14 song album coming out called The Broken Seasons. He is a Knoxville musician, and he's gathered up some of the best who I've ever played with around Knoxville to put this thing together. It's awesome. He gave us a preview, and we've been listening to it. Very, very cool stuff. So I wanted to direct you to pledgemusic.com/projects, oh my goodness, /Adam Whipple. You will still post links because I apparently can't talk without stuttering through it. So pledgemusic.com works just like GoFundMe or what was the other thing? Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Indiegogo. Indiegogo. So you can give different amounts of money and you can get signed CDs, all access passes. You can get studio production sheet and early digital downloads, all kinds of different cool stuff, t-shirts, stickers, cool things, your name in the liner notes of the album for giving a little love to Mr. Adam Whipple. So go to pledgemusic.com/project/Adam Whipple. You're hearing a song right now called Chain of Ohio, which is the first one off the album.
Do it.
Do it. All right. Now we're getting back into some spirituality. Lovely.
I thought we were doing Knoxville.
You want to give a couple shout outs first?
Sure.
I want to shout out to Bo Cumberland because he loves Sports Sector and he really likes the podcast. So thank you for listening, Mr. Tommy Bo Cumberland.
Nice. Good friend of mine, Paul Moody, owns a mobile restaurant called Finny Bees. Told him I would shout out his business this week, and he gave me a specific event to shout out, and I forgot to get the details, so I'm a bad friend. But he's doing something really cool where he's setting up a restaurant at a house that somebody's hosting it, and all of the proceeds from that event go directly to the pocket of a family who is paying off some big medical bills. So
that's really cool. I thought you were going to say directly to the podcast, and I was like, I don't think that's the deal we set up here.
No. But Finny Bees, B''S. You can check him out on Facebook and social media. Great guy, great food. He made some Cuban sandwich sliders one time a couple of years ago, and I didn't really know who he was, but I'm serious. I think about them often and fondly. They were very, very good.
Okay. He made at Movement Conference this year, while we were setting up, he made breakfast corn dogs.
Dang.
And when he said, yeah, these are breakfast corn dogs, in my head, I'm thinking, we're just having corn dogs for breakfast.
Like, how fancy could they get?
No, like, I legitimately thought nothing was changed, just a corn dog.
Right.
And I bit into one. The breading, and now that I think about this, I assumed he made it because he gave it to me, but maybe he just bought them. But these were phenomenal. I don't know. He'll just have to tell us. But if he did it, I'm totally giving him credit for it.
Oh, yeah.
But
He probably did it.
the breading was like pancake. And so it was like maple syrup taste on the breading. Breading was super soft. And then it had like, I think it was just a sausage inside of it. So it was like a pancake and sausage. It was so good. I couldn't have enough. Like, it was.
He's the man.
Yeah.
So is his name Finny?
His name is Paul.
Oh, that's right. Paul Moody.
Finny Bees.
And then
FinnyBees.com.
one time he gave me.
I don't know if he has.
Okay, sorry.
It's on social media.
Social
Facebook
media
stuff.
Okay.
One time he gave me a truffle of some sort, and it was so good.
Paul is also a listener of this podcast, by the way. So, Paul, when you hear this, Keep it up, man.
Check them out. Paul, please cook me more food.
Yeah, we do have something cool in the works with Finny Bees, so stay tuned.
Gosh, it is.
That's all I can say.
I just thinking about that food. I'm very hungry right now. So
Spirituality.
No, nobody likes that.
yeah,
I do.
I don't.
Yeah, just
like
one. Just one out of 7 billion. Isn't it crazy that we're up to 7 billion people now? It
Yeah.
was 6 billion like every year that I was in school
Yeah,
back in the 70s.
it's a lot. People are staying alive too long.
I don't know if that's it, but
That's it.
so we're going to talk about. Did you have any other shout outs?
No, that was it.
Cool. Good shout outs.
Yeah.
Good Knoxville. Way to go, Knoxville. Killing it. So much stuff to do. So we're going to be talking about churches. You've probably
talking about
Spirituality.
a certain.
well, I'm trying to relate this to like anyone who's listening, so I don't want to assume that everyone who's listening has like been to a church before.
Yeah, sure. Keep going.
So may I continue?
Yes, you're allowed.
So we're specifically talking about like Sunday morning church, as opposed to what we call the Big C church, which is more like the body of believers and people who are following Jesus. So specifically Sunday morning church, and also I've got to stop using this word, but specifically there's so many S's in it.
Just one.
The sound. Okay. The attractional church is what these have been
Coined as?
been coined. Thank you.
Yeah.
Someone else should talk. This is terrible. So the attractional church is like a very modern feel. There's usually like loud music, not a super duper long message or teaching kind of section. And really, like, I think we can say this and not be ashamed about it. The goal is to attract people and to relate to culture around us. So can we agree? I don't know. Y'all are just kind of sitting there. But that's not the end goal. That's a small part of it, which is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. I only like have one experience, like, which is my own. And so I grew up in church. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church where attractional probably wouldn't be a word that was used to describe the experience there. It was more of just your sort of bare necessities of a church service, so to speak. However, as I got older, there were, I can't share my entire story, but like there were times where like I didn't believe in God even. And, that was part of growing up for me. And so I got to a point where I was just kind of like, I had to go to church because my family went and I didn't really want to go. And then I showed up one day at One Life, and like that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. And it blew me away. And like that is part of what brought me back to Jesus and my faith. And so, for me, the attractional church model, it worked on me,
right.
And I work at a church now that would definitely be described as attractional. And so,
right.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, the goal is to get people in the door first, and then after that, present the gospel in a way that is interesting. Not that the gospel isn't interesting on its own,
right?
But it can be presented in a way that is extremely boring, or it could be presented in a way that is extremely exciting. And I think that anybody who's been saved, would agree that the feeling of being lost and then being found is exciting and continues to be exciting. And so I don't see a reason why our church services shouldn't model that same thought.
Yeah.
And like salvation is exciting. Jesus is exciting. So why would church not be exciting?
Yeah. And I don't want to put too many words in Logan's mouth, but Logan does graphic design, and a big part of that is like you want it to pop, you want it to be attractive to people, but that's not like the total purpose of it. Like that's important because being creative is like modeling God as the creator, but it's also like, it's not just a way to get people in the door.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that like as far as like design goes, you're hitting you're making different things for different things, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
if I'm making something, I know who my audience is, or at
Right.
least I try to understand that. And sometimes it is for the lost, and actually a lot of times, and sometimes it is for our students who are already here, for our like what we call like our core students that are very bought in. And what at least what I make during that, it's very reflective. I think of like I'm more conscious of I need people that if I'm talking to the unchurched or somebody like I call them, that sounds very bad. Just people that like don't go to church now, they're not involved. They may not even know anything about God besides the fact that they don't believe in Him. I need my design to be very attractive, pop, catch their eye, and then raise a lot of questions that they need the answers to.
Right. Like put them in a spot of tension to where they're going to be like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah. I need them to inquire.
Right.
So there's that approach. And then for the, like, once they're like committed and in, the design could be very different. It will be more personal. It'll make them feel like this is something that they feel synonymous with as far as like they identify with it.
Right.
Especially within students. That didn't even sound like your voice. That was weird.
Right. I'm having trouble over here.
And so yeah, I mean, I just think that, and that bleeds over into like other parts of the church too, and like the way that things are presented. We've talked about it with like talking during a worship moment. Like it's for the unchurched, the people that are like just coming for the first time and giving this a shot. It's not for the people that are there every week.
It's even for both people.
Well, sure,
You know?
it is.
But you have
absolutely.
to make it understandable to somebody who wouldn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
think that's as far as design goes, you just need to understand like being attractional is you will fail at your job if you're not doing it. You have to be.
Yeah.
You
Makes
have
sense.
to you have to raise questions.
Right.
And that's one of my I shouldn't even take credit for that. One of my favorite designers, Paula Scher, says that. She's like, I don't design to answer questions. I design to raise them.
Right.
And so that actually, like, for some reason stuck with me, and it like completely formed how I approach design.
Right.
But I think it's a great way to approach church. I've been saying a lot of P's right now. But so yeah, I just think that with that in mind, that is to me, the most effective way to get somebody who is turned off to church, turned off to Jesus. They need to start asking you questions. You can't jam like the gospel down their throat.
Right.
It'll never be received well. They have to come to you and start asking questions.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not manipulative, at least I don't believe so, but you can instigate that feeling by what you're putting out.
Yeah.
And make them ask questions by showing them what I believe that's what it means whenever they're like, live out your faith. Like, people will notice a difference. It's because of what you're putting out, whether it be design, whether it be worship, whether it be just how you live, how you speak. That is all like instigating. Is that the right word, instigating?
I think so.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. For some reason, it's just what came out. I don't know. But like, it's
Invoking.
where a feeling where people are going to say,
These are words.
like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's not because you're super spiritual. It's just, it should be attractional.
Right.
And then cause some thoughts that lead to questions, and then they want the answer. Nobody likes to know, or nobody likes to have an answer that they want, or a question that they really want the answer to, and not ask. They're going to ask.
Yeah.
Right.
So as like promoting from the church, you have to like get people to be in that spot.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach my entire
Yeah.
job.
That's really cool.
One thing that our pastor says at Faith Promise is that we're going to marry the mission but date the method. And so I think that a big reason why people feel uncomfortable in an attractional church, for our listeners and viewers, is because it's
wait. He just did air quotes.
Yeah. For our listeners and viewers. It's because it's different.
Your quotes are unclear.
Yeah, whatever. It's
Okay, it's different.
It's different than it has been. And so I think we would all agree that that's fine. And I think it's good. But I think that, people in general seem to be, for the most part, resistant to change or
Sure.
resistant to things that are different than what they're comfortable with. And so this attractional church model sort of takes a different approach to church. And in my opinion, it makes the approach to church more geared toward lost people than it does to saved people,
Right.
which to me seems like a no-brainer. I feel like the church would be the place where we want people to come and experience what we've experienced and not keep it there
Right.
for the people who are already there.
Right.
And
so even put them or present questions to them where they want to keep growing and not just like, oh, I go to church now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
And there are
Especially here in
churches
the South.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a wide variety of presentations in churches across the country, and
Right.
in any, some churches are just straight up like this is only basically for lost people, and then some churches are like, we're just going to keep teaching the people that are here, and if more people come, then cool, And I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing either.
Sure.
I just, in my personal experience, an attractional church pulled me back to Jesus,
Yeah.
and it makes sense for me to fight for that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what happened to me. It was you.
You were the attractional church.
No. What you kept getting or trying to get me to go whenever I had left. And then it was Faith Promise. It was like that church model that brought me back. And I'm not saying that they do everything right. And obviously One Life did it for you and they don't do everything right. But
Absolutely.
like in a general sense, like that model, I think works. And personally, before I jump into this, I feel like I should let you talk.
No, you're good.
You good? Okay. Personally, I think that a lot of pushback of like the attractional church model is shallow. I think comes from other churches. I think it comes from other people that are in church that see it in a very different way. And like you said, like it's not wrong, but also I just have trouble with any other church model because I think the church, like on Sunday morning. So the church, big C, us,
People.
our job, people,
Right.
is to be very proactive about it, to have them there on Sunday, just so that they can be presented with it. And like I said, like have questions and all of that.
Right.
So I think that not being proactive, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be attractional, but not being proactive is very dangerous. And a lot of times in that church that can happen. And so that's why I think, and it happens in attractional church too, where they just go on Sunday because it looks cool or whatever.
And it's the
like,
South. That's kind of what people do.
right. And that's going to happen everywhere.
Right.
So it's not, this one is better than that one. It's, just be cautious to, like, you need to be proactive because that's what we're like commanded to do by Jesus.
Right.
And so, this is the third week in a row that I've got midpoint and then forgotten what the very end of it was.
It's just tradition at this point. It's becoming an endearing thing.
Yeah. Oh, so I don't, at least in my experience, I don't think that is shallow because it's attractional. I don't think that is coming from the unchurched. I think that they're saying something else. I think they're saying that's fake. Not to the attractional church. I think that they're saying to church, that's fake.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand. So I think that like that's shallow or you're doing it for the numbers or whatever. I think it's coming from our own team. I think it's coming
you're
from
exactly right.
That are not for like that church model. And like you said, like people don't want change. And for so long here in the South, it's been the same way for a really long time. So to do change, like you're going to get a lot of pushback. And that's why like you kind of have to be okay with like hearing like, or not hearing, but like receiving a weird tone and look whenever you're like, oh, I work at Faith Promise or I work at One Life or whatever. And because wherever you go to church, you need to be bought in enough to the mission that even if you get back, like, you're an idiot for going there, which I've never heard that, but like to go to the extreme,
Right.
you have to be like, I believe in it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if people come and the gospel is presented, then what on earth are we arguing about?
Right. The model doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
Like
It's
Jesus
not
is
either or, just be
presented.
proactive.
And if people came to these churches that we're talking about, they would see that Jesus is there.
Absolutely.
Look, what you're right. Like most of the pushback comes from other Christians and other churches. Like we're all on the same freaking team. Like,
Yeah. Well,
that's what
I've
are we
never-
arguing about?
I've never understood why it's like there's this weird like competition feel of like, ooh, don't go there.
Sure.
Don't go to the big church with all the lights.
Come here. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that infuriates me whenever, like, students are the most uncommitted people in the world. It's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It does not bother me if we have students come to our service on Wednesday because their friends are there, and then they go to another service on at another church because their friends are there that week. It just doesn't bother me for some reason. I want them to come here because I know the gospel is being presented there.
Right.
But you're
not
not
like
going
we
to
need you-
sway them from some other place.
Yeah, it's not like we need you
Absolutely
here
right.
because we need bigger numbers. Like,
Yes, and that is infuriating to me whenever people are like, well, they're beating us right now. Well, beating us? That makes no sense.
Right.
They're presenting the gospel.
Yeah.
They're on our team. They're our friends.
we're
If
winning
anything,
together.
We need to work together
It
more.
should
Yeah.
be.
And we maybe have talked about it before, but like there's this, because of that, like, tell me if this is the wrong word, dissonance,
Sure.
Great word.
divide, whatever. I'm not great with vocabulary. It's whatever.
Distance
But
is a great
These are
word.
words.
between the churches, I think it's hurting us because everybody wants bigger numbers, but like, goodness
not-
gracious,
but not-
if you don't just
yeah.
work together, like it could work 1,000 times better.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's why like Knox City Worship is a great thing. I love that idea.
Yeah,
Also plug, go to Knox City Worship next time it happens. But
that was a really cool thing.
And I think that at the core, everybody who's a believer would say that, like, yes, like we're all on the same team, but that is not always represented in the way that people talk about other churches.
Yeah.
And that until they are disobeying God, you just can't talk bad about those churches.
I
just
think
don't
so, too.
I just don't think that is.
People want to make a
Okay.
sin out of things that aren't like a question of religiosity or morality or
Sure.
anything.
Yeah.
I remember
Absolutely.
back when New Spring did they did Highway to Hell on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
People lost it, man.
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome. Like, great.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And,
so
and
many
they,
people go to that church.
yeah, they explained it too.
Yeah.
So, like, there's purpose behind it. It
Exactly.
wasn't like,
They didn't just choose a random song and
yeah.
whatever.
So I think that's a great example of like they weren't being attractional just for the sake of it and just for the numbers or anything
Right.
like that. It was like, yes, this is attractional, but we're going to explain here in a few minutes like why we did that, and
Yeah.
we're going to present Jesus to
Yeah.
people as
And
well.
on
So,
Easter Sunday. Like,
Yeah.
That's like the big one. So
that's a big one. They call it the Super Bowl of Sundays in the church world, which is whatever. Hey, also just wanted to address that we said the word lost people a few times, which a lot of people who don't believe in Jesus are probably thinking like that's really what's the word I'm looking for?
Meaning?
Demeaning is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's vocabulary that I wish I didn't use. 'Cause I
Right,
feel bad
right.
whenever I'm like the unchurched because it's like those people.
But
And I
unchurched,
don't mean it that way.
yeah. And I do it too because we all grew up in churches and we have this like vocabulary that was normal within the church.
I don't think about it when I say it.
Right. But then, and I've gotten really passionate about this lately. And we use it for our like discipleship model, which again, that's even a very churchy thing to say. And a lot of people are like, what does that even mean?
Right.
But at One Life, it's like, let's try to use as little of the religiosity terms as possible and
Yeah.
just put it in plain language.
I think
Cause
that's a great move.
'cause I
by you
think-
guys for sure.
Smart.
well, I think that's what Jesus did too, because he was always at odds with the religious people and they were like, well, we do this. And he was like, no,
Yeah,
no,
You're
bro.
right. You're exactly right.
yeah. So what we mean is people that are just not
People-
around the church.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and-
not a
And
Like-
don't believe the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
We don't mean it demeaning.
I got to be more conscious of that.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
Well, we should go.
Oh no. If you listen to this podcast on podcast app or on Overcast or whatever, go to our YouTube page, watch the podcast again, but then at the very end, watch Asher wink and point at the camera.
He's lying. I wouldn't do something that stupid.
Until you see it. I'm going to edit the video, so I'm going to like zoom in on you.
Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and now YouTube.
That's right. So
What a great time.
our link will be, we'll throw
We'll
up.
post it on Facebook
Yeah.
and Twitter and Instagram, but
Yeah.
I believe it's These Are Words with a Z at the end of words.
Yes.
For
It is.
YouTube as well?
Yeah.
I didn't
'Cause
know
our-
we had
our-
a YouTube page.
Google account is linked to YouTube automatically because this.
Right.
And the letter S was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So These Are Words
happy
with a
about that.
Z
Yeah.
will be up on YouTube this coming week.
Yeah. So
We'll sign it off with a little music again.
Adam Wimple.
Adam Wimple. He's not a wimp.
So that's his last name.
He's a man.
Manple.
These sound inappropriate. I know they're not, but they sound it.
We got to go.
Bye, everyone. This has been Asher with These Are Words.
With special guest Logan Hankins and VIP guest Lance Asher.
Whose podcast is it if we're all guests?
Asher. Well,
I'm in the middle of the shot.
Actually, I think we're all three guests. It's Prissy's podcast.
Yeah, probably.
She's been over it for a while.
She's knocked out.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
That was fun.
So climb up on my shoulders, you were never meant to fly. The Lord laid down his wings so he could walk the countryside. And a man has got no glory of his own till he's past the great divide. But you got two wheels and these haunted roads till the day